So, fuck yes, welcome after the hype. New host, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty and nobody else.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. It's just us.
All by myself.
2 is the loneliest number.
But for this week and next week, we do have a very special guest who's filling in for Emily Blake and kind of Chewy at the same time. We have Sam Garrison back. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Thank you for filling in for the next 2 weeks. It's much appreciated.
I'm excited about it.
We're recording 2 weeks in 1 weekend, and Emily is at Gallifrey 1 this weekend having a great time, and Chewy got called into work yesterday, so she will not be here for the next 2 weeks either. But it does not mean anything. We're going to be fine. And we have a special guest here who's already sang to you, which is very much in his way. Hi, Chris.
Hi. Yeah, I was just walking down the street, and then Brian just screamed out his window, "Hey, you gotta do a podcast."
Get in here. You're on for 2 weeks.
Sure.
That is, to be fair, our recruitment.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we get everybody.
Yeah.
Just walk around. Who wants to be on a show?
I mean, usually, Brian, shoots us with, a tranquilizer dart, and then we'll end up in a room.
Well, that's usually if someone says no first.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's only if you say no.
This is why I never say no.
Oh, we've learned.
And the funny thing is, he always finds your guys' house, our houses.
Yeah, I'm good like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just keep switching it.
Like, how did you walk all the way over here? Well, I drove.
Why are you in Blondale?
Just don't cross me is all I'm saying. So when I first thought of doing the movie the first thought was, how can I schedule on a weekend when Emily can't be here because she is horrified of clowns, and we found a weekend for that. And then the next thing was, well, I need to have Chris on because
I love clowns.
But I knew you loved this movie, and we've talked about
yeah.
it, so it's like, all right, I have the perfect guest for this one. But before we do any of that, we should do a quick "Where have you been doing?" I will go first. Something that I was going to mention last week, and then I didn't. I watched the Cloverfield Paradox, and it was okay.
I didn't hate it the way that other people did.
I
I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't good.
I didn't hate it either. I just thought it was okay.
I haven't watched it yet, so now I'm curious.
I think the big mistake was that it came after 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, because I love 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love the performances. I like the script. I liked everything about it. And this one just kind of felt fine. Like, it wasn't the worst. Like, people really hate it, and I don't think it's
It
worth
felt
that
like
at
a
all.
really good episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah,
It was a really it was a not great Cloverfield entry, but it would have been a great episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
I would have been here for it.
I made the joke afterwards that it just needed like Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi running around with a sonic screwdriver, and it was an episode of Doctor Who. Like it's about that level of quality, which isn't like a knock against it. It's fine.
I would even say it's Black Mirror-esque, but without the without the deft commentary.
Yeah, there's really that's kind of I think
because it's not really saying the movie's not saying anything. But I don't know, it fit that the conjunction of the sphere, so to speak, of like my mood and what I wanted to watch, and that movie just happened to be out.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird because you just kind of hit it. Like the first two movies, you can tell really have something to say,
right?
And this one just kind of didn't. Like it was just like, hey, here's some very talented people, like set director, like everybody involved is very talented, and they just kind of put him in this.
Are you familiar with these 6 sci-fi movies?
Yeah,
great. You're gonna have an okay time with this.
And it felt like it had that hey, we're doing parallel dimensions, and that means that we're smart. And it's like, it means that you're in the right track.
It means you've seen Event Horizon.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with it.
Now I wouldn't go so far to say it's like forget this movie and go see Event Horizon only, because it's like there are more than one movie you can watch.
Yeah, and
it's enjoyable still.
And everyone in the movie is very good. It brought back, I can never pronounce her name, the girl from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and she's fucking phenomenal. I love her. And
Zhang Ziyi, or is it
Ziyi
Zhang? I forget the proper way.
But she's fantastic. And Chris O'Dowd's in it, and I have a huge man crush on Chris O'Dowd. Like he's fantastic.
Delightful. Daniel Bruhl can
Daniel
get
Bruhl
it.
is
God.
so it's
That
definitely
little German.
worth watching. I wouldn't.
And frankly, I love how they released the movie.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just completely out of the blue.
Surprise,
fuckers!
And here's the thing: it worked. The same day I heard it. The same day it was coming out. It's like, oh, it's coming out right after the Super Bowl. Oh, I am totally watching this now that it just came out without any warning, and I got no one's feedback on it.
Will and I were home with the flu and don't have cable, so we were just refreshing Netflix until the Super Bowl was over.
So you were like Mark Zuckerberg at the end of the Social Network, just desperately waiting for that to come out. Just desperate.
Trent Reznor is just behind you making music.
He's more so just holding chords for a little while. Bling, bling.
And I could just see him just looking sullenly at his piano, just being like.
And Aaron Sorkin is in the in the back. And you're like, yes, this is great material.
I think we'll
write a
circle
5-page monologue about this, and no one's gonna edit it down.
Let's walk and talk it.
I think we've circled Drain on Cloverfield, so I'll say that's it for me. John?
All right. So I made a rule for myself with watching movies on Netflix and streaming. Is like if I can't decide and I find myself just channel surfing, so to speak, I will watch a TV series I've been meaning to watch, and just force myself to watch it. And that series has become Supernatural. And because it's got 12 seasons, a lot of episodes. It's like, if I can't decide to watch something, just freaking watch this. And it's been a good method. And I've been enjoying the show. I'm only like 4 episodes in out of 12 seasons. So like,
You got a long way to go.
I got a long way to go. But now it's kind of putting me in a new habit of watching movies. If I want to watch a movie, pick it. Or else watch Supernatural.
Well, you got a 3-day weekend ahead of you. So, just jump right in and I'm sure you'll get those.
Which I learned on Friday at 6. Our boss was like, you don't have to come into work. And I was like, why? Because I just don't know holidays.
See, I had the exact opposite. It's like, hey, by the way, you have to work the whole weekend. What? Fuck you.
Oh.
But no,
Yeah.
that's...
So yeah, I've been enjoying it, and it's very much of its time, and I'm comfortable in that.
Yeah. Sam, what about you?
I saw 50 Shades Freed last weekend.
Of course you did.
I was so excited. No, it's become an annual tradition in our house to watch those movies, ironically, on Valentine's Day, because apparently I'm hipster garbage. We got blitzed, and even that didn't help. It was the worst one in the franchise. It's the worst studio film I've ever seen, and I saw Suicide Squad, and it was just hot garbage. I can't believe, like, on a human level, there's nothing redeeming about its message. The performances are terrible. It's ugly. The music is horrible. Rita Ora's in an Adidas tracksuit, which I don't know. There's an insult where she literally screams at a woman to get back in her shit-colored car. That shit-colored car is a Porsche Panamera. That's like a nice car.
Hashtag rich white people problems.
I know.
No kidding.
And they're like in an Audi R10, which is like similarly nice, but I'm always gonna go Porsche.
I can see the note session. How do rich people insult each other? I don't know.
You chose a dumb color for your car.
And they talk
Your
about-
$500,000 car is not that great.
I know. It's amazing. Like, and
Not that great. Like you acknowledge it's still pretty good, but not that great.
Well, it's better than what you drive the Volkswagen or whatever it is. I don't know. It's
The Volkswagen Diamond. It's not as diamond enough.
It's better than my lime green Honda Fit. Because they're better than us.
So
Oh,
50
Lord.
Shades Freed, you'd recommend it?
I recommend these movies to everyone because it's such hot garbage.
Yeah.
Like they just get worse and worse in the best way.
See, former co-host Ryan made us watch the first one for this show, and I was out. And I made it through all of it. I was entertained.
If you ever, Will and I would love to come discuss this franchise on this podcast.
I don't think I could watch another one. Like, they're just...
What about a podcast takeover?
The
Where
second
you wouldn't have to
one-
do anything.
The second one and the
Maybe
third
when
one,
I'm
though,
maternity leave, I'll let
the
somebody
second
do
one
it.
and the third one, they start exploring butt stuff, and it gets weird.
Only is she doing butt stuff to him? Because then I'm into it.
Of course not.
Fucking movies.
He wears sex jeans. Like, that is a thing. They look
I'm
like
not gonna lie,
Brett-
she's doing a better job like making me want to see this movie than because I'm like sex jeans.
Sex jeans?
They look like Brett Favre's Wranglers, and then he grabs his like BDSM whip, and we just like. It's the
Is it
best
on a
part of
labeled
every-
hook, BDSM whip? And he's like, oh, thank you.
No, he's got like a library of them. It's amazing.
Well, I am going to see my family after this, so thank you for giving me that option. Also, one other thing.
Please let me know how that goes.
Also, one other thing. If you join us, if you're in the White Elephant episode and I just so happen to be a co-host during that one, pray, because I will give you a studio film that is worse than Suicide Squad or 50 Shades Freed.
Ooh, this is
It's
some...
called Supernova.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We could just pick any canon film and you'd be fine. Chris, what about you? Where have you been doing?
Runaway Train is a great movie.
Sure.
Well, I'll do 2 because they kind of go in tandem with each other. and
You
stuff.
are recording
I'll
2
make a
episodes
quiz.
today. Remember that.
No.
yourself.
These go in 2 tandem because I saw a little independent film from a small independent company called Black Panther, which was
Sure.
Is that A24?
yeah. They picked it up at
Fuck,
Con,
I wish
and,
A24 would do Marvel movies. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
You get like some really interesting ones. I feel like with that one and stuff. No, I mean like. What else could be said about Black Panther that hasn't been said already? It's fantastic. It's an amazing.
What's the runtime?
Film. 2 hours and 15 minutes. But the thing is that I think the greatest strength of it is that it is so different from any other Marvel film that they have done. Where like Ryan Coogler, from what I read, like kind of knew his negotiating power with this one and kind of said to them, I'm going to do this one my way. Like, it's still going to fit into your universe, but we are not going to do the standard kind of origin Marvel film with this one. We are really going to go into our own, to a different direction with this. And I think it really played to the movie's strengths. Michael B. Jordan is a revelation in this. I mean, he's been excellent before and stuff, but he is he's the best Marvel villain I've seen. Wow. He is amazing in it.
Now, give me context to that, because Marvel villains aren't good.
You're right. There's only two like good Marvel villains, and I'm using quotes on good.
Because when you're saying he's like,
so, wait. So what are the two? Loki and who?
Vulture.
I would disagree on Vulture, but okay.
Yeah.
It's a Harry Osborn ripoff. That's not Vulture, but that's okay.
You're called not Vulture. Yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, I was just trying to get a context, because
whenever they cast people on my wood list, it's a good villain.
Well, here's the thing about Michael B. Jordan is that I wouldn't necessarily call him a villain in this picture. He's more just like the guy who like is opposed to T'Challa in this picture. He's not really he's not an overly overt bad guy in this.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm seeing it tomorrow, so
I mean, and notice how I'm trying to be very vague, because it's kind of like I do not want to tell you some of the surprises that are held in this picture at certain points.
Now, does it take place after Civil War, or
it takes place literally 24 hours after Civil War? Okay. That is when the film begins. It literally begins as soon as Black Panther takes and drops off Baron Zemo. It's literally like the plane ride afterwards it opens, but it also takes place. A lot of the film takes place before Civil War, and I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay.
The second
how can a movie do that?
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
And then after that, I on a whim, because I had nothing else to do yesterday, saw for the first time ever the 2015 Fantastic Four.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh man. I know Josh Trank, from what I understand, acted like a real douchebag at certain points in time and stuff, but I really would love to see his original cut of that picture, because I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. It's
I saw it.
The first half of it is actually legitimately a fairly good build up to the origin of them as characters and stuff becoming it, and then it just takes a huge, massive nosedive from there.
Oh, when it jumps a year ahead.
And all of a sudden it's
that?
And all of a sudden I'm looking, and all of a sudden I pause my TV and I'm like, wait a second, I'm an hour into this picture and there's only 30 minutes left, and they just got their superpowers.
Yeah.
And it's literally just kind of like, oh yeah, we brought Doom in and stuff, and all of a sudden Doom's a bad guy, and we gotta defeat everybody and stuff, and which kind of stinks, because
and they take one of the strongest and best female Marvel characters ever and turn her into a mode of transportation. Way to go, Josh Trank!
Not only did it take her into a mode of transportation, but she doesn't have any interaction with the Thing, which cracks me up. Like, her and the Thing do not talk at all in the picture, and they're supposed to be a fucking team.
Family, not team.
Fantastic Four is supposed to be a family.
Yep.
And there's no sense you get that kind of interaction between Reed and Johnny in a lot of the picture. But it's you're just making me think this movie is a piece of crap.
It's just awful.
And I like the direction that they kind of took it in, where they're kind of like, oh, let's do Fantastic Four by way of Cronenberg. But
sure, yeah.
It's just, if you're gonna do that, you got to go all the way with it. And instead, what happened was I felt like they stopped halfway through and they're like, oh my God, we're making a Fantastic Four movie and it's going to be like a horror movie and we can't do this.
The suits come in. You got to rein it in, dude.
I don't want to. I'm in Chronicle, damn it. Chronicle!
And now you're done.
Yeah. And now he's kicked off of everything.
Oh, man. What a fuck up. I hated that movie so much. But I'm also a huge Fantastic Four fan, so... Anyhow, so let's move into today's movie. It's It. It's It.
It's the movie.
It's It.
I'm going to see
the movie.
This is it.
That's it.
I still think it's one of the worst titled anything ever. All the way going back to Stephen King's book. I kind of hate it. It's really pompous and annoying, but whatever.
Good luck telling people what movie you're going to see.
And that's really the
God,
end
it was
of my
so
complaints.
confusing when I was arranging group screenings stuff. Like, hey guys, we're going to see It. What are we going to see? It. Okay, what's It? Motherfucker, do this again to me.
Yeah, it's basically the sarcastic bastard's dream title. Anyhow, so this movie, I'm trying to go back to numbers and review systems because I kind of like doing that. This movie made Warner Brothers a literal fuck ton of money this year, which I'm sure they appreciated. They spent $35 on it, which still seems low. you have to see every cent on screen because it didn't feel like a super low budget movie to me.
No, it felt like a 50 million. Like it felt like the budget was much actually closer to like 75 at certain points.
That's what happens when you're not paying for cast.
That's very true.
Yes,
yeah.
you are absolutely right about that one.
I mean, the biggest name of this thing is the kid from Stranger Things, so it's like, yeah, totally.
And we don't even know his name. We just know him as the kid from Stranger Things.
Finn Wolf.
I know.
It's Finn Wolfhard because his last name is Wolfhard.
Oh, like Corey Wolfhard?
Oh, get ready. This kid, as soon as he hits puberty, they're going to jack him up and put him on weights, and he's going to be the next action superhero. Finn Wolfhard in.
Action superhero or superstar, porn superstar. The kid's got options.
One of the two he's definitely going to do.
It won't be. He can choose one. He cannot have the other, though.
Nope.
Stallone did both.
That's true. It's
that's
only
because
And so
he's
did Jackie Chan.
there you go.
But that's because he's Stallone. And
Well,
Jackie
and this
Chan.
kid will be Wolfhart.
You know, with a name like that, you got options, kid.
Okay, we're done with this. We're moving on.
Are we?
So this movie made $700 million on a $35 million budget, which is just fucking profit galore, which is why we're getting another one as soon as humanly possible.
Sweet.
The review comes from Metacritic, as I like to do, and I usually try to read the ones that are opposite to what we'll be saying. So this is from Gina K. I'm going to read it as nicely as I can. Here we go. I hereby nominate this as the dullest film I've seen this year. Or maybe ever. It seemed to go on forever, and I saw this with a Stephen King fan who thought about asking me halfway through if I wanted to leave. The direction was pedestrian. The kids, with few exceptions, were not interesting. The set design was okay, but if you've seen One Small Town, you've seen them all, at least if you go by this picture. And even at the haunted old house looked cliche, like every scary hole in the ground, and there were dozens of those. I guess this only made money because there was almost no other blockbuster for competition this summer. A real snore. 1 out of 10.
This summer? It came out in September.
And that's just somebody. I'm sorry, Gina K. You are tough to please.
Oh God, I do not want to ever meet this person. I'm just gonna look at them. I'm just gonna like look at them with like slanted eyes, like with like slanted eyes, and be like, really?
Yeah,
Really?
that's like when very fun guest of our show, Elliot, tells me that Mad Max Fury Road is boring. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess if that's how you feel. It's like, but he tells me,
you do you, man. You do you.
okay, let me pull up a 30-second timer here, and we can do ourselves a breakdown.
Ah, yeah.
This week coming to you via Chris. Chris, are you excited for this?
Ah, yeah. Let's do this.
All right, so 2017's It in 30 seconds. Here we go.
It is the story of 7 children who live in the small town of Derry, Maine, who discover that there is an eternal evil living underneath them in the sewers, who takes the form of Pennywise the dancing clown, who every 27 years decides to come around and eat numerous children. Rallying using each other's friendship, they decide to put an end to this evil once and for all, but realize that they are also the characters in a 1,000-page book and will probably be part of a sequel.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say that was a success. You skipped over a lot of rather important parts, but I like the way you did it.
Look, man, I got 30 seconds, all right? Like, I was like, oh, no. I am not going to try to rattle this off. I'm going to end it 25 seconds. Done.
Picking and choosing, man. Picking and choosing.
Yeah, I'll say that works. So before we jump into the movie, I want to try to say one clarifying thing. So I'm trying to do this episode today for people who have seen this movie. Not necessarily seen the old 80s TV special. Like, we can kind of talk about that, but definitely haven't read the book because, as you said, it's over 1,000 pages. So a lot of people haven't done that. So I want
that person.
Okay, so perfect. So I don't want to spoil. Like, a lot of people know there's a really famous death that kicks off the original movie, and this franchise hasn't gotten to that yet. So I don't want to talk about who dies or anything else coming up. So anyone who's only seen the movie, you're still good to go listening to this episode. I'm not going to spoil anything for Chapter 2. Cool.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say this to you after the podcast. We got to talk because I have an interesting theory about what you just said about what I think they're gonna do in the movie. Because I think they're gonna switch up certain things.
I think so too. But yeah,
I think we're both on the same page.
So,
I think I already know what you were thinking about.
So we'll get there. But we're not in this episode. Chris and I will get there after we stop recording.
Yes. If we
Weirdly
do
enough,
chapter 2,
it died.
we will talk about if our theory is correct.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I saw that. That happened. I don't know what the sequel is going to be.
Exactly. So we're gonna leave it there, and we can start talking about today's episode. And I want to start.
The Babadook comes in.
They have a good old
I
time.
would
watch
actually
it.
watch the shit out of that movie.
To
The
avenge his
Babadook,
lover?
the Babadook,
Yeah.
and I would actually watch the
I'm Mama
Babadook and
Shark.
Pennywise on like a sitcom. Like,
See,
Oh.
they decided to give it up. They was like, let's just go on the road, take our show on the road, and they just sing and dance.
Yeah, so you have Pennywise dancing clown just with
They
Babadook.
revolutionized.
And then the Babadook is
drag
behind
scene.
everyone in the crowd, being like, "Do you like the show?"
Just knocking really loud on the wall, like, I'm helping.
and then afterwards, Pennywise goes up to him like, dude.
So anyhow, I think the best place to start with this movie is the titular character of Pennywise the clown. I was going to save him for last, but he's really like he's the drawing thing in this movie.
Yeah.
He is the thing that people show up to see, and the one thing that people are like, can he do it? Because nobody really knows who Bill Skarsgård is.
That was, I think, the big question for everybody leading up to this film is that who's going to play Pennywise? How are they going to portray Pennywise? Like, what is Pennywise going to be in this film? I think,
Especially because the early marketing campaigns were so ridiculous. It looked like it was not going to be good, and he was not going to be good in it.
The first trailer, I was like, uh-oh.
I have a theory. I think Warner Brothers or whoever did the marketing for this picture, and you got to admit when they got to the like the last leg of this one, they really pulled out all the stops in the marketing for this one.
Yeah,
But
it took a little while to get there, though.
But I think it would not surprise me if they decided, you know what, let's really underplay him and make people think that we don't have the goods on this one, and then kind of build it up as we go, and then kind of like make it seem like, oh yeah, we actually do, because he's like I don't know about you guys, but he's like the shark in Jaws in this picture, where he shows up in the most random places at times, which I thought was a brilliant ploy in their part.
Well, it does a really good job because it makes sure that you never feel safe.
Yes.
Like there's no like, oh, I'm safe during the day or at night or in my house or on the covers of my bed. Like he can get you fucking anywhere.
Or a library.
Yeah, and I think they.
Or when something else is already tormenting me.
Yeah, like.
Like when he waves that arm, that was
Oh my
the
god.
most disturbing
Well,
moment
yeah.
in the
No,
film.
see, the most disturbing scare to me came during the second, or it was either the second or third time I saw it, because I saw this movie about 4 times in the theaters. That's how much I liked it.
Yeah.
Is the library scene, and I'm not talking about the decapitation.
The creepy lady that's
The
just
lady
standing in the
in-
background.
Staring.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to get to here quick, that in horror films, I always look to these to the daylight for relaxing, respite, like a break. And this movie didn't give it. And I was this was awesome because like the library scene in particular.
I would say it gives you plenty of breaks. It just not really not at the standard horror movie times. So it doesn't really play to your expectations where it's like, oh, this kid should be fine. He's during the day and surrounded by adults. No, he's not fine. But it does, as soon as you kind of get to know the pacing in the movie, Pennywise gives you breaks when they're all together, which plays into the plot of the film of they're strongest when they're together. So if they're all together doing something, you can pretty much guess for the most part, nothing's going to jump out and scare you right now. Until you get to like the last third of the movie, and then like he comes through the projector and that sort of stuff. But
Well, he's just like, fuck it, I gotta kill these kids.
but to what you were saying earlier about the marketing of the movie, I think they did a good job holding back what he looked like. Like they showed like one promotional still of him, but they really kept him out of the trailers. But I don't know if that was because they were trying to be smart about it and hold him back, or if it was they weren't settled on his design yet.
Well, I think another big factor is that
Well,
in
the
the
first
marketing,
image that they released was that still from Entertainment Weekly before there was a trailer, and it became a meme. So I think they realized they needed to pull back because out of context, it doesn't work.
No, and especially because of the Entertainment Weekly still was before they decided to have him go like fish-eyed. Because throughout the whole movie, his eyes are never like unless he's about to kill somebody.
That's because Bill Skarsgård has a lazy eye.
Is it really?
Yeah,
that's
him.
That's not them. And I'll give you another thing that apparently was there was actually several things to his performance that they said randomly came up on set. The lip thing that he does is also not a CGI thing. He does that. He can do that in real life, where he kind of like extends his where he's able to almost unnaturally extend his lower lip so that way you can almost see a part of his jaw. Is a big thing. And then the other thing that happened is that when they were testing the makeup, he had a problem with his saliva in that he kept drooling in the makeup and everything. Is that the makeup? It was almost like there was a pocket on his mouth or something that would keep it, that would all of a sudden fill up with saliva, and then he'd start drooling out of it and everything.
Yeah.
And at first they were like, "Oh, we got to bang the table. We got to fix that and everything." And then all of a sudden, like the director was like, "Actually, let's see if we can keep that in and like see what the drool looks like." And then when they did the storm drain scene, they were like, "Oh my god, that looks fantastic."
Yeah, no, it looks great. I didn't know he had a lazy eye. they definitely played with it. But like the thing was though, like you go back and watch the trailers, his eyes look different. Like they definitely CGI'd over his eyes.
Oh, I think they CGI'd over them because they CGI'd over them in the
color.
market.
Yeah, exactly.
He changes
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
Like when he's trying to do the tempting thing, his eyes in that actually have several different phases. It's not just one or two.
Oh, totally. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Because in the third act, when he's battling them in the sewers, his he usually has like the yellow eyes, which look semi-human, but then like in the final battle when he's holding the kid and everything, I don't know about you guys, but his eyes are like almost alien in that scene.
Well, the only thing that they did with his eyes in the trailer that I wish they had kept because they changed it in the movie was in the scene with Bill when he goes down to see his little brother and Pennywise is in the water. When he comes out of the water, when you watch it in the trailer, his eyes don't reflect in the water. And I thought that was like a really cool touch. Like, oh man,
well, it's almost
creepy.
like a skull or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that is in the water.
But then in the movie, his eyes reflect. It's a total.
see,
mirror.
they
And it's
should've-
like, you're better in the trailer. Like that was a smart choice.
I got to go with that one. I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. That because I noticed that in the trailer where I was like, oh shit, he has like a skull in the trailer. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's a
and
horror
everything.
film. We are looking in every goddamn reflection.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
especially because I'd caught it in the trailer, I'm like, man, that's creepy. That's awesome. And then they changed it for the movie. It's like, "Meh."
I think it's also. I think this Pennywise is a unique monster in horror. Also, I think the main reason why I find him so interesting is that if my memory serves me correct, Bill Skarsgård, is it Skarsgård or Skarsgård? I forget.
I don't remember.
Skarsgård.
Okay. In interviews, he talked about how, in a lot of other monster movies, the actors who play them, they always try to talk about how they try to find the humanity in the monster. They try to find that thing that makes them sympathetic. He said in interviews that the difficult thing with performing as Pennywise is he had to come up with the opposite. Pennywise has no sympathy, doesn't give a flying fuck, only wants to eat, and is just this creature that just has no resemblance to humanity in the long run and everything.
I would push back. He does give a flying fuck. He needs you to be as scared as humanly possible.
You're right, because
he
that
cares, but he wants you to be more frightened than you've ever been before because you taste better when you're scared.
He just really wants that sous chef kind of thing and everything.
Which I wish they didn't have to call out in the last act because I think most of us as horror films kind of get it. It's like, oh, he's scaring you because he wants to scare you because he wants to eat you when you're frightened. And then at the end of the movie, when he's holding up Bev and he's like, tasty fear. I'm like, oh, come on. Like you were like, there's so many things about this movie that's like perfect. And then they have these moments.
Although I do love it, and it's such a great character moment when Bev just does go, "I'm not afraid of you," and all of a sudden he yanks her to him and he's like, he does the sniffing, and you just and I love the fact that Bill doesn't play it as him trying to terrify her, but just genuinely like Pennywise just has that scene where he just kind of turns his head. He's just like, God damn it! Like I got to bring out the big guns on this one. Like I really don't want to, but I have to. I mean, Pennywise. He's almost a prima donna at times in the picture. It's kind of hysterical. Like it's almost like nervously funny. Like I love the scene also when Bill and Richie when they run into the room as he's trying to eat Eddie and everything. And he turns around and he just has this look on his face like, the fuck, guys, I'm giving you my all right now. Like I'm trying to scare the shit out of you and you're just not letting me. Like, let me do my job. God damn it.
And he's very good at his job.
Oh no, he's great. I mean,
it's almost animalistic how he's got one purpose and he doesn't know what to do when his patterns don't work. There's that instinctual.
Yeah, totally. Because I don't think the way that they play it in this movie, and especially the way that Bill plays it, is like I don't think he's ever had pushback before.
Yeah, he's never had to deal with this problem.
No.
And he's legitimately, and like I said, the thing about it that I think elevates this movie above your standard horror movie that has come out over the past couple of years is that Pennywise is legitimately getting pissed off, and he's not getting scary pissed off or I'm gonna try to eat you and everything like that. He's legitimately you could almost see him going back to his hideaway and everything, just sitting there and just being like, what am I supposed to do now? These kids aren't scared of me. Come on. This has been working for thousands of years, and now I got to deal with these kids.
And I want to see what you guys think, and then we'll start moving on to the kids and whatnot. At the end of the film, for those of you, for some reason, who haven't seen it and everything's spoiled for you, Pennywise has basically fought all the kids, is getting his ass handed to him far more than I think he ever expected. And he gets a hold of Bill, basically in a headlock, and he's like, all right, I'm taking this one.
A great monologue.
Yeah, it's fucking great. He's like, I'm taking this one. The rest of you can fuck off and live the rest of your lives. Do you think he was offering them a real deal or not?
I think,
because I do. I think.
Ooh, see, here's the thing: is that oh god, why are we? Because, all right, look, I'm going into theory territory here and stuff. I hate to say this and stuff. This is not in. I've read the book. This is not in the book, so I do not want anybody to think I'm spoiling anything in the book. I'm going in total theory territory. I think that's exactly what they're planning in chapter 2. I think it's going to be revealed that they're all successes, that they all have happy lives, or at least like successful lives and everything. And I think it's going to be revealed in the movie that is actually his doing to try to keep them the fuck out of the town.
Yeah, that could be.
I think that is a thing that they're actually going to do in the movie. I think.
The only reason why I would disagree with you is because I honestly think that Pennywise was grasping for straws at the end. Like, he knew he couldn't beat the kids. When they're all fighting together, he loses, and he knows it. So I honestly think that
I don't think it was a real deal.
I don't think so either.
Bill's the beating heart of the group, and in taking Bill, he would have separated them and removed what made them not afraid.
So do you think that if he took Bill and everything, he actually would have been like, "Oh, now I got them," like, and actually over the next 2 weeks would have like kind of taken them down one by one?
Everyone but Bev, I think. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. 100%.
I mean,
just because of the way he's been so far, when you're that desperate, you'll say what you're gonna say and act well.
But I mean, like going back to that monologue was fucking brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way he delivers it, because the way he delivers that is so scary on a primal and psychological level, where he's just kind of like, oh, you could forget about all these horrible things. I'm still going to be out there. I'm still going to be murdering people, but you don't have to worry about me. That's the deal I'm offering. Just walk away and I'm cool. Yeah. It's disturbing, and he delivers it perfectly. I mean, I know you talked about how there are certain scenes stuff. The 2 scenes that he needed to nail that he did was that scene and the beginning scene of him in the drain and everything. Oh, yeah. He nails it perfectly.
I think he nails almost everything. I don't really blame him for any of the little bumps I have in it. I think were director choices that I disagreed with, but I don't think they're bad. I just think they didn't really work for me 100%. But overall, I'd still love the movie, love it. But
well, I mean, another acting choice that I think that he did that was absolutely brilliant. And props to the director for recognizing this, is the opening scene in the store drain, where you have that 5 seconds where he's laughing with Georgie, and then all of a sudden he just phases out of it, and he's kind of and where he's almost kind of like, I really want to eat you. Yeah. And he just has that look on his face where he's like, oh, I'm so hungry. I got you now. I know I got you.
And what's kind of great about that scene is the trailers give that scene away kind of in pieces. We have some preconceived notions of that. That's the famous scene of it. Yeah. That's the
scene.
The scene. We know it. We think we know it. And this movie did subtle things throughout that whole scene where it was different enough. It made me uneasy.
And again, not to harp on the original TV special, but since it was a TV special, they had to pull a lot of punches. So in the book, they he gets his arm ripped off. And so watching this movie, I'm still expecting the old TV special where he basically just gets yanked into the drain. Right. So when they chomp down and rip his arm off, I'm like, holy fuck.
I haven't seen the TV special. Yeah. And I don't know. I didn't know. I went with a friend to see this movie because I'm not.
Oh, it's aged beautifully. It's aged so much. Well.
When they just rip the arm off of a 5-year-old, and just the cutest little boy, he's just darling. And they just rip his arm off, and there's just blood and viscera, and it was just and already the scene was making me so uneasy. I knew it wasn't going to end well, but just that act of torture before he kills him was just too much.
And it should be mentioned that, to briefly mention in comparison with the TV thing, there was an element to his performance that was different. It had the, I'm trying not to delve into too spoilery, but otherworldly quality. Sure. That was completely missing.
Oh, no. I mean, that scene when you draw it out, and I mean,
because what you were saying about
really trying to, they're trying to hammer it into your head and stuff that, Pennywise has never been human.
But even
this is a thing trying
that's
to
really clear.
This isn't. This is a thing that's trying to imitate humanity, who has gotten very good at it, but every now and again can't do it. And I think you see it in the scene where he's just kind of
assume he's an interdimensional.
And I really noticed that. I really noticed that this time around, just the way that the movie was showing that, and I thought that was really effective.
Yeah, the choices they made for Pennywise, I think across the board were, I'd say 99% spot on.
They nailed it. Yeah. I mean, they nailed it. Nobody was expecting them to nail it the way they were, especially after Fukunaga.
I don't think even Stephen King was. And Tim Curry definitely wasn't. You hear him talk about the movie, he's like, wow, they did a really good job.
No, Tim Curry was flat out no. That guy's the book Pennywise. He is the book Penny. I mean, Stephen King was even Stephen King apparently was just kind of you're going to do Ed, and I saw Ed was just kind of You guys got it. Like,
Yeah,
you got it. Like,
yeah, you pulled it off.
You fucking nailed it. I mean, there's no other way to describe it and stuff. I mean, it's just an amazing performance. And I mean, also just real quick, for those of you who haven't seen this picture, shame on you. This movie plays like gangbusters with an audience.
Oh yeah,
This was a great audience movie to watch.
Okay, so that's Pennywise, and that's, I think, as much as we can say before we're just, blowing him, essentially. Which you shouldn't do. He might kill you. The kids.
That would blow.
The kids in this
No,
movie.
go back. I want to go on. No,
You guys go on ahead.
Have fun.
So the kids in this.
the
so,
Losers Club.
The Losers Club. Or Lovers, if you want to know. Draw a V on your cast.
there we go.
The kids in this movie, is as important as it is to nail Pennywise and have him perfect, you need to do the same with the kids. And I think they did it. Like the cast of kids they found was perfect.
The chemistry was like stratosphere level amazing in this.
And they took care to dial back, like, because Stranger Things is out. We have that comparison to make with these
And they
kids.
even cast a kid from Stranger Things.
And
So
yet
like,
it still didn't feel like, oh, this is just Stranger Things, the movie with it.
Well,
I
for
was
the record,
so nervous because I do not like Finn Wolfhard's character in Stranger Things.
No, not at all.
No. But him as Little King Trash Mouth.
and for the record,
amazing.
everybody, in case you're wondering, this movie was in production before Stranger Things came out.
that's
I want
interesting.
this
Yeah.
iterated.
Yeah, no,
instant.
it's
So
just-
this is not. It wasn't like, because I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they looked at Stranger Things and they're like, that's how we should make it." No,
No,
they
and-
came to this
no,
on their own.
They looked
That's-
at Goonies and said, that's how we
Yeah.
should make it.
Well, I mean, truth be told, that's actually a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
though.
totally,
Like,
yeah.
let's make or Stand By Me,
Sure,
which
yeah.
is another Stephen King thing. It's
Yeah.
like, because the way I described it to people who are not into horror films, because I told them, I was like, this is actually a movie that I think people who aren't into horror films can get into.
Yeah.
Because I told them it is Stand By Me, or even I'll go to another Stephen King adaptation that doesn't have any supernatural elements, Shawshank Redemption, with a monster. Pictures those characters dealing with a monster in it, with that type of depth and that type of like chemistry between each other. And
I don't think
everything.
Andy would deal with Pennywise very well. I think it'd be that one I don't really
Oh
see.
God!
but-
You just put this great image in my head where Andy's escaping into sewers, and all of a sudden he turns the corner, and you just see Pennywise. And he's just like, "Sup? Hey, oh, you're so lucky. I'm not in my 27-year cycle right now. All right, go on. No, get the fuck out of here. I mean it."
But no, I think like the group of kids, like the way kind of how you do it, like the way that I explain this movie to people who haven't seen it, like, oh, just kind of imagine Goonies, but they're fighting monsters and stuff. Because it's a definite horror film, but I was never like, I was uneasy a lot, but like I wasn't ever horrified by it.
No, I wasn't.
It's difficult to
I
put yourself in
was-
the position of the
You
kids.
were?
But not during the Pennywise scenes. The bullying scenes were
Oh my God.
horrifying
Yeah, those
to
scared me
watch.
way more than because they were,
And-
Well,
they're so fucking real.
Let's touch on that too, because that ties also into the issue of the adults. And I never got this with the last one, or a lot of horror films that are things like this that have children in them. They kind of skim over the fact that, like, to a kid, everything is scary. And in this movie, the parents are almost worse than Pennywise. I found myself thinking that throughout this whole time. I was like, man, the adults, like, if Pennywise doesn't get them, they will.
The adults are fine, and like I think the adults are the weakest actors in the movie, and I don't mean that anything against them. I don't think they're really given a lot either. And then Bev's dad, but even he was only given like, you're a creep, you're a creep and a bad guy.
You are a pedophile in the making.
Yeah. The kid for me that steals the whole show, and nothing against the rest of them, but Henry Bowers is so fucking good in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
That kid, he's got like that look in his eyes at times that is
Yeah.
just like when he kills his oh my God, when he kills his fucking father, that freaked
Holy
me out.
shit.
When he just puts it to his neck and you just hear the click.
Yeah, like that entire sequence, the way that kid plays that damaged, like, I'm super tough, but like a bowl of Jello on the inside.
See,
Like,
I didn't feel that he just seemed like a psychopath to me, because
Yeah.
everything his dad did was really logical because he was such a bad kid.
right? Yeah.
I don't think he was damaged. I think he's just rotten to the core.
See, I think
Because he's just he takes everything too far. He's so susceptible to Pennywise. He never even really needs to meet him for him to be
Oh, yeah, totally.
But
influenced by
but I think that's the scary thing about him is
Yeah.
that you could take Pennywise out and you still have this psychopathic kid running around town who is probably going to murder a child at certain points.
he would have killed Ben.
Yes.
Like his
Yeah.
plan was to kill Ben. Like
his
that's
plan was to gut Ben, not
Yeah,
just
like-
kill him, like
yeah.
gut him.
I love Ben.
Ben's so great.
That kid was such a wonderful actor.
He was so good.
Oh.
But Henry, like the way that kid played him, like I think you're right. He plays him as just like this completely like he's a sociopath. Like he needs legitimate help, and his dad, doesn't know how to do it, so just tries to rule with fear, which only makes the problems worse. And I think that kid, I don't remember his name, but he did such a good job playing this. I think he is damaged, but not like in a really fixable way. And he plays it like he's a super soft thing on the inside that's like scared of it and just snaps out and is threatening and tries to be as violent as possible. And the kid is just like, he's the type of kid where like if I were to see him beating up another kid, I'd be like, well, I need to stop him, but I'm probably going to get stabbed in the middle of it because he's not afraid of adults or fucking anyone.
No, he's not. He's legitimately, I mean, like I said, it's an interesting... This movie is so interesting because it's not just about like, oh, Pennywise is the monster in this. It's like, and this is why Stephen King is usually so good in his stuff, is because he readily establishes monsters exist in the real world.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts real world monsters in his books along with the supernatural things.
There's a few of them in this movie.
Yes, and there's a number of like, I mean, like I don't know about you guys. I got legitimately creeped out during the pharmacy scene when the pharmacist is talking to Beverly.
I'll take a real quick pause there. That guy is the real monster of the movie, the pharmacist, and it's not entirely his fault, but he looks like Mitch McConnell, therefore I hate him.
It's actually Pennywise is this guy. Like Pennywise actually got smart after this and decided to get into a career of politics and change himself into Mitch McConnell.
That's what I wondered though after seeing the librarian, who was clearly some manifestation of it, or not the librarian, but the other woman in the library, because they're dressed differently and they look just different enough. It's two different actresses. But I wondered if the pharmacist or that mean girl in the pharmacy were also like, it's so confusing because you don't know who is a manifestation of it.
You don't know who it could be at times.
But you don't know who's a manifestation of it, and you don't know who is just, because this town is such a shithole.
Nobody should ever go to Derry.
No.
For me, this is the first time this movie where, Derry itself felt like a villain, felt like a scary, like it was such a character, a stained and rotted.
You didn't get it from Dreamcatcher? What are you talking about?
Or Insomnia?
I mean, someone told me I should get it from Dreamcatcher, but
you shouldn't have.
I missed it.
There was so much to catch in Dreamcatcher.
Like the script. Sing, pow, bang.
But even just going back to, like, even though the adults didn't have anything to do, it's just like the fact that we couldn't tell who it was, and the fact that the movie just was actually kind of restrained in this. And, like,
the book
kind of... Yeah.
The movie's restrained. It's a very interesting movie at times. It's restrained about, like...
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. The restraint. And even the second time around, I was like, this would have gone off... Like, this would have gone poorly off the rails.
Shot like that's what I love about it, is it's shot like a gothic horror period film.
Sure,
and I mean, it is a period film in the sense that it's the 80s, but there's something very mannered about it.
Yeah.
And very
It's shot kind of like Crimson Peak, but in, like, 80s Derry.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to call it out right now. This movie, to me, was like, I told him, I was like, if Amblin decided to make... If Steven Spielberg said, I'm going to, like, during the 80s, I'm going to make an Amblin hard R-rated movie, but I'm going to take, like, take all the elements that I like in my films and put in... This is that film. It was very close to that Amblin kind of esque.
It just needs a
tone,
a tearful forgiveness of a parent in there, and then it's full on Amblin.
Which no one in this movie deserves. No adult in this movie deserves forgiveness.
No. But okay, so we started on the path of the kids, and we completely left it. We should go back to the kids because we've only really talked about none of them. A little bit of Ben, but like the titular character, not Iron than Pennywise in this movie, like the real kind of meter of it is Bill, and I think this kid, like, he had quite a task trying to bring that guy to life, because he has this strange stutter that's like very crippling, and like people make fun of him for it, and like it's this very like on the nose thing that he has to deal with on a daily basis, and it just kind of defines who he is, even though he would never want it to.
Well, I mean, like, this kid has a couple of interesting tasks in this. Beforehand, I just have to say, he beats his fist against the post, or else he still insists he sees the ghosts. I have to say, like, that's like, if you guys listen to it, that's what he's trying to say to get rid of his stutter and everything. Because you're dealing with a kid who has a great arc in it, who's just legitimately, everybody around him knows the truth. His brother's dead. Like, he ain't coming back. This kid refuses to believe it because I think a part of him is also, there's a selfish part of him that doesn't want to believe it, because that means he also has to force himself to grow up a little bit. Yeah. In accepting the fact that his brother isn't just killed, is murdered. Yeah. So you have that. You have the stutter, which I think this kid brings out brilliantly, because I think a lot of other children actors would have overplayed the stutter. Once again, going back to the restraint thing, this movie really knows how to pull it back. physicality wise, I'm not sure if you guys noticed it. He's legitimately taller, like, as does happen during their preteens and stuff. Puberty does hit kids a little bit faster than it does others. Him and Beverly, it looks like, are the two people in the group that it looks like kind of puberty hit them a little bit.
Oh yeah, Ben still has
more
baby
than stuff.
baby fatness.
Yeah,
cheeks.
Ben still has baby fat.
Yeah.
Like Mike, even though that kid looks like that, if once he starts getting weightlifting, nobody's going to be able to stop him.
Yeah.
He even carries himself a little awkwardly, like he doesn't know what to do with his height.
Yeah, he does it,
which
like,
is really interesting.
He's got like kind of a lanky kind of walk to him and
Yeah.
everything and stuff. I mean, overall, like, the kid had a Herculean task of playing the leader of this group, and I think I agree with you. Just pulled it off. Pulled it off great.
Especially with I keep forgetting Wolfhard because I'm
Yeah.
forgetting his name now, and I want to say Corey because I'm a fan of Future Man. But he like even with that kid there, because that kid's like he's blowing up right now, as well he should. He's fantastic. But with that kid there, and he's just like he's got scene stealer written all over him. He's funny. He's quick witted. Like he's great with his lines. And for a guy to have to come in and try to counter that and play like the lead character, I think the kid did just like phenomenal.
Well, the hardest thing when you have characters like with not just trash mouth also, but I mean, and I guess we'll get to him later on. Eddie also like being
Eddie.
funny in his own way, in a very different way, but also equally as funny as trash mouth. I'd argue.
Yeah.
It's very hard to play the center.
Yeah.
But you have to have the center in order for those characters to kind of be able to explore it. It's like what I tell everybody. It's like, the hardest role in Star Wars to play isn't Han Solo, it's Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker has to be the center for Han Solo to kind of be Han Solo.
He is the line, so you need to know
Yes.
how crazy or not crazy they
It's
are.
the
based
crucial
on
Jenga piece that
Based on
can't be
him,
moved.
exactly. That's a
Exactly,
good way to describe
yeah.
it. Yeah, he's the Jenga piece that cannot be moved. Everybody else
Yeah.
can move around him, but he's the one that's got to stay center and kind of stay the course the entire time.
Yeah, and
That's actually C-3PO, you guys. Star Wars is a movie about robots. The humans just fall in line.
Nah, it's Jar Jar Binks who Natalie
Misa
Portman.
think you're
No,
wrong.
I'm
I
being
can give you a few
serious.
reasons.
Star Wars is a movie about robots,
Yeah.
and the humans just fall around them. Like,
What makes you human?
anyhow.
anyway, sorry.
So
I just had to. He's the C-3PO, the beating heart of the film, with nothing but logic and goodness on his side.
He has no heart. I'm sorry.
Shut your whore.
I know
we're moving on.
you have no heart.
So okay, so if that's Bill, and we've kind of talked about Richie as much as we can. I think the other one that I think deserves most of the chat is Bev.
Oh yeah.
Star making performance.
Yeah, like
That is a star.
like she was incredible. And it's kind of one of the things where like you know the next one they're going to try to take place like that 27 years later when they're all adults. They kind of hinted that all over the end of this movie, and it's like I get that they want to bring the kids back because they're so good, and it's like that girl was just fantastic, and like everything she did was great. Like the way she played off everybody, she had like a kind of a different chemistry, and you could see like she talks to Ben different than she talks to Bill, and she doesn't really talk to the other ones because fuck them. But like she kind of has this like very different relationships with both of them, and even at a time she thinks that like the poem came from Bill when it came from Ben, and like you can kind of see how she reacts to them differently. And
Well, I mean, first off, I said that the actor who played Bill's performance is great. Her performance, and I don't use this lightly when I say this word, is beautiful.
yeah,
She has a beautiful performance in this picture because she plays. Would you argue that she might be also an emotional center for this or a focal point in this and everything? Or
I mean, maybe story wise, but not for that group. Like a lot of the kids in the group are still like they even bring it up. Like, why is she still here? Like she was not a part of the losers clubs to all of them.
yeah, no, and I mean like especially
By the end, she is, but
No, I get exactly what
yeah.
you mean. I mean, it's kind of and I agree with you. You got me thinking about it because you're right. Her relationship with Bill is so different with the way that she treats Ben, where she almost sees that Ben needs somebody to kind of like go up to him and just be like, "It's gonna be okay. Like your pain will pass." And that's how I think she kind of plays it with him, where she just kind of realizes, "Oh, this poor bastard. Like he's dealing with shit that I don't even know about and everything."
This
and
might
she
be-
plays it like that.
This might sound a little weird, but she kind of recontextual. Like she centers their age for me. Like it's hard to tell with some of these movies that these kids can be a little bit like older than they seem because you kind of get lost in all that. But the whole like thing with the note and I like him, does he like me? Like there's kind of an element of that. I'm just like I forget in the movies like these that they're kids.
oh yeah,
And I think she does a good job of kind of reorienting us too in that.
Well, Go ahead.
I was gonna say the scene that solidifies that for me is when she tries to get Bill to admit that he wrote the poem, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about poetry," and it's just kind of this heartbreaking, like, I thought we were on the same page, and no, only I'm on this page.
Well, one of the things that I love and stuff, because I just got to say this, is that the other thing I wasn't expecting in this movie is that this is one of the funniest films I have seen this year. It is laugh out loud at times.
Parts of it. Yeah,
parts of it and stuff. And what I love is that what made me kind of chuckle is when they're in the sewer and like Ben is shaking her when she's in the trance and everything, and all of a sudden he goes and kisses her. Is that if you listen to it very subtly, you can hear, I don't know which one of the kids, but you hear one of the kids go, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that's Richie. It's definitely Richie.
It's just like he's like okay, like, and I think almost one of the kids like, okay, I didn't think you needed to do that. Like,
also, just shout out that they explain how the clown manifests in this.
Yeah,
like whose fear it was, because everyone kind of had their fear that Pennywise has kind of manifested in some way, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to explain why a clown.
Well, I'm gonna put out a theory right there. I think it's his favorite form. He likes to be the clown.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's just it just wakes up in the morning.
But yeah, there was
I want to be the clown. I like the clown.
There was a logic that each kid was kind of being approached in their own way, based off of their own fear, and I was like, okay, well, he's appearing as a clown for him.
But he's appearing as a clown for everyone at some point.
Yeah.
Like I think Chris is right. That's the form that he prefers to take.
I think the thing with Beverly in this picture is that if you notice it is that I think one of the things that the reasons why she starts hanging out with them is that she's able to be a kid again.
Yeah,
She has to
definitely.
That's exactly.
She has to deal with so many adult things that
yeah.
they don't. Not even because I mean like. Bill's got to deal with the dead brother. Ben's got to deal with bullying. I'm not trying to downgrade those issues because those are things that kids have to deal with. And
but they never have to deal with.
That's why she does like them, because they understand her pain.
Yeah,
they all are suffering as much as she is, but they've all found a way to be kids.
Sorry, I have to leave right now. Zordon's calling.
Do you have 5 kids with attitude?
You may have to restate that.
I'm sorry, you were saying.
Oh, no worries. But what is it? But like, no, but I think the other interesting thing is that they also play with the fact that while these kids are dealing with issues that kids primarily deal with, she's also the one that has to deal with the most adult issue in it, which is her horrifying father.
Oh, yeah.
And just how adult men see her. It was horrifying to watch that. Like, I finally got, this movie does a good job of giving you that feeling where you're like, suddenly these guys, these kids, these boys dealing with pain of loss and everything, but they're not also dealing with the fact that like adults look at you and lust after you. I don't know. It was a very icky feeling. This movie evoked it very effectively.
Oh yeah, Mitch McConnell was super creepy.
Oh, and I was so like squicked out, scared, freaked out in that
moment. Well, the way
moment.
the other girls treat her and stuff too is.
Oh yeah.
That's the worst part. I think is that she's being blamed for other people's shit.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where she finds camaraderie with the boys, because they're always being blamed for other people's shit.
Well, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
there's because it's really funny. Like, yeah, what her dad is doing is very obviously horrible, but it's so sort of common and banal that, like, for me as a girl. Then it's like, yeah, this isn't really the most horrifying thing. Like, I'd be way more upset if I lost a sibling because, like, I don't expect that to happen. Like, not to sound shitty, but, like, that's her life, And so that's where I think she finds camaraderie with these boys, because they do understand sort of how pain just becomes your existence. How being blamed for other people's attitudes toward you just becomes your existence. And they've found a way to be kids and to accept her. They don't look at her that way. She's able to be with people who just treat her as a person.
No, beyond Richie, like none of them even buy the rumors about her.
Yeah.
Like, and even Richie, I don't think actually does. He's just a smartass. Like, it's just what he does.
Well, he's just like, he's trying to, like, it's almost weird. It's like Richie is like, oh my God, there's a girl. I don't know how to react to her. Say something. Oh, I'll make fun of her because it is, because I make fun of all my other guy friends because it is.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to comprehend that, like, no, this is on a different level. You should not be making fun of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just typical preteen stuff.
Yeah.
For
exactly.
him.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize how hurtful it is.
But that's like each one of them have their own, like, and like that's the one thing. Like, obviously, you can't cover the whole book in a movie, but like each one of them are coming from a place of kind of like what Sam's saying. They all come from a place of pain. Like something sucks in each one of their lives, and they don't really go for all of them. Like the what's his name? Is it Stanley or Eddie, the one who's always sick?
Eddie's the one that's always
Yeah,
sick.
so
I
like,
guess it's a good segue to him.
yeah, so like Eddie does a great job. Like he's funny, he's quick-witted, but he also doesn't acknowledge the fact that his mom is just fucking him over at all
he doesn't
times.
know. It's so funny too because he's the smallest one. He's
Yeah.
the most childlike in a lot
Yeah.
of ways because his mom has hampered his growth. So I mean, his relationship with his mom is kind of as long-term abusive, or will mess him up as long-term as what Bev's dad is doing
yeah.
to her. You know,
Oh,
and
for
that's
sure.
what's so.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you can just
That's
see me and
what's
Brian
so-
just being like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what's so like sad about his situation is he doesn't realize that it takes a lot for him to realize that it's there. What did he call the placebos? That like it's all fake. It's all
You're giving me a
Gazebos.
fucking gazebo, man.
gazebos. Like it takes recognizing the gazebo to realize what his mom's doing to him, and that's like a horrible part of growing up is when you realize that moment when you realize your parents are human and don't necessarily have your best interests at
Oh, I
heart.
feel so bad for my upcoming son. He's gonna learn that real quick.
Well, and,
I don't trust me, son.
well, even as a parent too, it's interesting that it helps that this movie kind of jettisons, like makes the rot kind of a part of the adults there. Because as an adult, you do worry. As a parent, you do
Yeah.
worry about your kid, and you worry that you're going to be overbearing. So like these movies are kind of interesting in that way to see how they're approaching the parent figures. Like the Babadook does this too, and
Yeah.
that was a tough watch after just having a child immediately. It was like, oh,
Yeah,
let's
I
watch the Babadook. Oh, I feel horrible now.
What the fuck were you thinking?
Well, I like to watch these movies.
It's like I have a newborn at home. Let's watch The Witch.
For this second child during like midnight feedings, I'll be putting on horror films. Like when Karina, my daughter, was that age, I was watching American Horror Story at night as I was feeding. Like she's asleep, she doesn't care. I just wanted to see people eviscerated.
I'm so happy to be up right now. I need to see people die.
Well, there. I mean, I didn't want to fall asleep, so
It works.
yeah. But
No
still.
judgments. It's okay.
Honey, that was a great vegetarian dinner. You want to watch Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah, sure.
Who haven't we talked about? What are the other two kids?
Okay, so we talked about
Stanley and Mike.
No.
right?
There's we've.
I
actually,
do
no.
have who's the kid? The
Ben. We haven't talked about Ben really yet.
we talked about Ben. We
No,
didn't
the-
really dive into him too much, but the movie doesn't really use
for
it.
lack of
We
a
need to talk about how much he has the right stuff.
the
He really does.
I love Ben.
the
Go to him and hug him.
I forget his name because I'm bad with names, but the black kid. Mike. I don't like Mike in this because of what they did with him. Like, it's the one thing that I liked. I liked how they had him in the TV one, where he was kind of the glue that held everyone together, and instead he was just kind of this.
It
I
felt
don't
like
know.
they tacked him on, and it
They
felt
tacked-
like there
he
was
felt
something
so tacked
interesting
on.
there with having
And it
lost
could've-
his parents to it already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to the rot that is Derry.
Like,
I feel like we're gonna get into this now a little bit with his character.
I'm just going to avoid everything because like the Mike in the movie is very different than Mike in the book.
I kind of assumed. 'cause
yeah.
It feels
yes,
like,
he is very
it
different in
feels
the
like
book.
he knows more about what's going on than they've given him the opportunity to say.
So without
Like
going,
he's experienced the rot in
Yeah.
Derry in a way
Yes,
that the others
like,
haven't.
Put it to you this way. It kind of is alluded to, and I really don't want to get into too much detail about this, that he's the one person out of all of them, and I do kind of wish they did keep this element, or at least explored it a little bit more, that, you know how the kids are first encountering or first realizing it? He almost knows from the day he was born that there's something
Yeah.
very wrong in
like
this town.
he has a more of a deep connection to the town than anybody else. And without going too far into spoilers, like he's the only one who stays in Derry. Like he is connected to this town.
Yeah, I read a little bit about what
Yeah.
the sequel is going to be.
Which I
hope
find
that
is-
they do better by him than
Yeah,
that,
because
though.
I think a
otherwise I
sequel-
don't think he'd be in the movie. Because if they weren't going to at least use him in the sequel, there's no point to keep him there because they don't do anything with him. And I don't blame the kid. I think the kid did a great job with what they gave him. They just didn't give him a lot.
I really liked seeing him on screen. I liked him there, and I liked his performance was good. He was charismatic. He just had like
He's the muscle.
He didn't have any.
Yeah.
He probably didn't. I mean, did he find himself in the script somewhere? Like,
Well, no, he's in there, and I mean, like, what you guys have just said, without giving too much away, I do like the direction that the director said he may take that character in chapter 2, as opposed... All right, screw it, I'm just going to say it. They gave a lot of Mike's stuff to Ben.
Yeah.
Ben is doing a lot of the things that Mike does
like
in
the
the book.
historian.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
Mike
sense.
in the book is the one that knows that knows a lot about the history of the things as a kid.
Which makes sense because he was like homeschooled, so his education would have been different. His
Yeah.
grandfather would have felt the need to explain
Yeah.
to him that Derry is a bad place, and I think being like the only black kid in this super white town, he would need to know that.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's almost a shame.
Well, it's interesting.
It's almost a shame they didn't wade into that.
It's kind of interesting because it seems like, I don't know about you guys felt, but it seems like his grandfather is the only one that is kind of trying to prepare him for what he's going to, like, almost in a subconscious way.
I saw that too, and I was very kind of like fascinated and curious.
So-
and I remained curious throughout the whole movie. Like, where are you going with this?
Here's the deal and stuff. Like, and I'm not talking about like, I'm actually going to go back to the Cary Fukunaga draft of it, which I actually which I read. A couple of months ago.
Cool.
I found it online and I was able to read it and stuff. His parents aren't dead in that one. It's his mother and his father that are raising him in that one. His father has cancer in the book, and not in the book because he doesn't have cancer in the book, but in the script he does.
Okay.
Halfway through the movie, halfway through the script, he dies. His father dies and everything, so he has to deal with that. And on his deathbed, because what we were just talking about, it's basically like Mike is the only one that kind of has parents that don't have this fucked up relationship with them. He actually has a very good relationship with his parents in the script, and kind of like a way I kind of feel like his grandfather does have a good relationship with them. It's just he's trying to get his son to grow.
He's
tough.
He's
a tough guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But not abusive tough. He's just tough.
Yeah,
because he's trying to toughen up the kid and everything. But the scene that I'm talking about is that his father's on his deathbed, and he basically tells Mike, there's a monster in this town, and I've been trying to get you almost prepared for it because I've kind of sensed you're going to have to face it at some point in time.
The way they're kind of setting him up, at least I kind of hope, and I could just be reading into it because it's what I want it to be, but I feel like they're kind of going to try to make Mike in the second one the watcher on the wall. Like the guy who... He's the
centurion.
Yeah, he's the one who is always there and trying to prepare to help as much as he can. But how much can you help against Pennywise, which is virtually not at all.
But I also think the other interesting thing that I read about in this interview and stuff is the fact that they're also going to say it takes a toll on him.
Oh, for sure.
This. Like, because he's happy-go-lucky originally and stuff. But I like the idea that in the sequel and stuff, he's almost going to be like a conspiracy nut.
Well, and he's the only one who killed somebody.
Yes.
Like, nobody else has to deal with that.
Yes.
Like, Bev cracked the shit out of her dad with that Toilet Boy lid, but, like, that guy's probably still alive. Maybe not, but probably.
Brain damaged.
Yeah. Like,
and in prison.
Yeah, and in prison.
In Shawshank.
Yeah.
With Andy Dufresne.
But, yeah, like, that will definitely take a toll on him. Even though, like, it's him or him. Like, it's neither one of them. They're not both walking out of there, so he had to do what he had to do. But that will he's still a child who had to kill another child. Like, that will take an effect.
Put it to you this way. In this movie, I feel like Mike was the was the character that got the short end of the stick. I do not think his character will get the short end of the stick in the sequel.
Mike also killed the sheriff's kid and stays in town.
Yeah, like that's...
Well, to be fair, the sheriff's kid did kill his father, and they're going to have evidence of that. Like, that kid was a psychopath, and that, Mike probably had no choice.
Either way, he's in for a rough go of it. Like, there's no way around that.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean by, like, whoever plays his character in Chapter 2, which unfortunately my choice of him has announced that he will no longer act anymore. Jordan Peele was my choice to play an adult Mike.
He would have been cool.
Which I think would have been great.
I do not envy the people who are working on the next one because just for reasons we won't delve into, that's going to be the toughest one to adapt because it's also the weakest part in any of the adaptations.
Just bring in Lakeith Stanfield. He can do anything. He's magical.
I have so many theories, and like, I would
For
love,
all of
like,
them.
if you guys ever do like an It Chapter 2, what could possibly happen in this? I am more than down to do that with you guys
because there's like, I'm not going to watch a single trailer for the next one. I want to go in as blind as possible. Like, I want to have fun with it because, like, I think everyone involved in this one is doing the next one, and I think that's incredibly exciting.
Can we talk about Stanley real quick?
No.
Sorry, I don't mean, but like, he's such a little bitch. He's the weakest link for me.
No, Bill.
Bitch Stanley.
We're not going to go back there, Bill.
And I know what happens to him, and so I feel bad saying that, but Stanley's a little bitch.
But he's kind of supposed to be. Like, that's kind of... He's that friend that you have in the group where it's like, oh, we remember...
Do we have to go in here, guys?
It's like, can't we just say we forgot to call him and just assumed he'd join us? Like, can't we just this one time, maybe?
I agree, but I've always felt like I was that person. Even though I might not have been, but this is how I see myself.
Great, Jonathan's going to get a call in the middle of the night telling him, hey, guys, the thing has returned.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah,
why'd you wake me up?
But no, I totally agree. He's a little bitch, and he's a pain in the ass, and...
But that kid plays it brilliantly.
He does. He does it really good.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a bitch in this. Like,
yeah, he does a great job with it.
Yeah,
but
it's not his performance. It's just what a
he's
lame.
a bitch in this. I hate saying that word so many times about it, but that's the only way I could describe this character. Where you just kind of turn around and just be like, You're a little shit.
Yeah.
Like,
But the actor does a great job with it.
no, he plays him wonderfully in this.
But I think we should move into quotes. Quotes.
There's so many great quotes in this picture. Like, it's the thing that I love about it is that it's just a fully formed film.
Mine, I go with a Richie quote, and it's just the one that I'm not sure if it's in the script because I haven't read the script, and it felt kind of off the cuff and him just kind of playing around. It's when they're trying to fix up Ben's H scar, and he's trying to tell everyone how to do it, and they're like, "You don't know what you're doing. Shut up!" And the last thing he gets in there is, "Suck the wound! Get in there!"
Suck it!
The way he screamed, "Suck the wound! Get in there!" just killed me. Like it's such a good moment.
It's not a quote, but I gotta say the scene that had me almost in near tears in the theater was when they're in Ben's room and he turns around and he just sees Beverly like close the door.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just see them in the editing room just kind of being like, "Okay, guys, we could either just delete this part or we could play it. But if we play it, we gotta play it. Like we can't be like half play it. We gotta just like make this massive comedic scene."
I just love the hidden music and everything.
Like,
So-
don't. And I just love the look on his face. He's like, "Oh God, please don't tell them. They will never forget this."
The exchange I like is from Richie. I wanted to try to find one that wasn't, but he's got the best ones. It's between a conversation between Ben and Beverly, and Richie's there too. "I thought you said you wanted to get out of this town too." And she's like, "Well, because I want to run towards something, not away." And then Richie just pops in, "I'm sorry, but who invited Molly Ringwald into this group?" I was like, oh God.
That's a good one.
My favorite is also from Richie. It's when they're in the rock fight and they just have him in slow motion going, "Fuck you."
Well, we might as well make it the quadra.
Yeah.
Might as well just make this the trash mouth hour of the day.
I loved it. His name is Trash Mouth. And in Bob's Burgers, Linda has a raccoon friend named Lil King Trash Mouth.
Yeah.
No, my favorite line in it is because it's so random afterwards. When it's like after they encounter Pennywise at the house by Nybald Street, you just turn around. He just turns around. He goes, "Look at this fucking kid! He's bleeding hamburger helper!" And he has the audacity to literally, just like Ben, just like, he almost he's like mauled at his side.
Yeah.
And he literally takes Ben's hand and he raises it up, and you just see the kid like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm bleeding over here."
Oh man.
Just one more word for that kid. Like the two characters of Mike and Richie Trashmouth are so incredibly different, and he does a great job.
Yeah.
I really like him. So review system for today is going to be ragtag group of kids. Any movie with a ragtag group of kids.
Monster Squad.
Okay, that works. I'm gonna go Attack the Block. A little different than this one. They're all a little bit angrier and more gang-like, but I think the kids versus an unbeatable monster is still.
Oh man,
better.
I would love to see Pennywise up against a bunch of inner city kids in like Oakland or
My
something
God,
like
Pennywise versus the kids in Attack the Block. I'm into that movie.
that. I don't know. Pennywise would legitimately Pennywise would be the scared one in that film. I can just see the kids be like, "What the fuck are you? They're trying to turn into a fucking clown in front of. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Let's tool up, bruv.
No, let's do off, bro. Like you trying to come after us in the block? No, fuck you. You're not coming out of here in 27 years. You're going down in 27 seconds, bro."
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Whoever could do that mashup, please get that out.
I need to watch that movie again. I love that movie.
Which also makes me wonder, what does Pennywise do in his 27 years? I mean, like,
Hangs out with Jeepers Creepers.
I personally think he was so
He
happy.
and the Babadook are revolutionizing the monster drag scene.
Yeah.
I personally think Pennywise was just incredibly happy when video games started coming out.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, "Yes, I'm gonna kill a kid. I'm gonna take his PlayStation. I'm gonna get all his games. They're gonna blame it on a robbery gone wrong. It's gonna be fantastic."
So tired of fucking books.
So I'm gonna go a little off of center. Mystery Team with Donald Glover.
Okay.
Ragtag group of kids, but unexpectedly funny. Like,
Yeah.
going to your comment about this movie being unexpectedly funny, I was not expecting to laugh as hard as I did. And the comparison drops pretty much there, but still, there's a level of enjoyment I had on both of them.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Scooby Do, written by James Gunn.
Okay.
Just because both movies shouldn't have been as good as they were.
I'd agree with
And
that.
they're
Yeah.
both perfectly cast.
Yeah. Yeah. I not a big fan of the second one, but I love the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Is it
Oh my
still on
God.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Is
You
it on
should-
Netflix?
yeah.
Because
You
guess what?
should-
Because I didn't realize James Gunn wrote it, and I'm like, oh, is it subversive? Is that the idea behind it? Behind the Scooby Doo film?
Like they really water down a lot of the jokes from the original script, but it's still definitely James Gunn.
The win is when you find out who the villain is. It's just as someone who like grew up watching Scooby Doo and loves
Yep.
it, it's so fucking satisfying.
It's Shaggy, isn't it? No. Oh no, wait, no. It's the pup, isn't it? It's that fucking annoying
watch
little
it.
pup.
Just watch the movie, man. All right, so that's the end of today's episode on It. I think we can all pretty much say that we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Did we enjoy it?
No,
I enjoyed that movie.
I think we did.
That was named
next week we have for the Oscars coming up. We have a battle, which is Best Picture winners. So it will be movies that have won Best Picture, and we're going to try to discuss which is the best at the table, which of course is mine.
I'm the reigning champ. I just want to know I've never lost a battle.
It's true.
I will be doing
And I have
this.
the best
I will be
movie.
doing this battle in character.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see what wins today because it's
I
four
am
very
This
very-
is
good
a tough one.
I'm
This is-
excited.
So
I'm excited because these are all great
they're
movies.
really good movies, and there's one great one at the table, and it's mine. Anyhow,
Just doing Crash, if anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
do people not love Crash? Am I wrong about this? Fuck.
It's
Got
Crash
about,
out of
it's got
Af-
about
it-
the same level of like social politics. So
Anyhow,
It's Crash
so
out
we're
of
doing-
Africa, the artist. I'm just naming all
so
the bad ones.
we're doing the greatest film ever, which is The Apartment. We're doing the worst film ever, which is Return of the King. We're doing a really great movie, Silence of the Lambs, and a movie, Beautiful Mind. None of that.
a Ron
was-
Howard movie.
Yeah.
A Beautiful Mind.
None of that was stilted for my own win. And then
None at all. No bias.
Yeah,
Hashtag no bias.
none whatsoever. And then after that, I haven't made the schedule out that far yet, so I have nothing. But we will by
The world will end by then.
The world will be over.
Yeah.
It'll be rough. So thank you.
I look forward
shit
to our
happening.
conversation.
Yeah, I know. So thank you everyone for joining us, and if you tune in next week, we will all be back. So thank you everybody, and bye.
See you in a week.